Not much. How you doing?
Everything's good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, man.
Where are you located?
I'm in Edmonton,
Okay.
Alberta, Canada.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm coming to you from one of the cradles of jazz. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri. So it's great to meet you. I'm looking forward to getting into band, the album, your life as a musician. So thanks for taking a minute out.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
So the album is a tribute to the groove. And before we get into this album, I want to know 4 years ago, we were all trying to figure out this pandemic. How long is it going to last? I know Canada was hardcore about their lockdown procedures. How did you, as a musician, ultimately make it through that time period? And how did it either affect this album or what you're doing now?
Oh, that's a heavy question. I mean, as a musician, and everybody knows that getting through the pandemic was hard. I mean, I know a lot of friends and bands and great bands that really struggled. Obviously, we couldn't play indoor music or anything like that, and or anything get together and whatnot. So, um, I guess it's kind of hard to tell the story a little bit because we actually at one point we thrived in the pandemic. We actually, as a brass band, not needing any power or you know needing a venue, we can pretty much play anywhere. Is kind of where we really found our way and cut our teeth, I guess you could say. The band started in 2019, and we were just kind of getting started, and then we got hit with the pandemic, and we weren't really sure. At first everything was cut off, but they started to ease restrictions, and we found ourselves. We put out this blast where we did this brass blast is what we kind of called it, brassagrams. So we picked one day, and we said for $100 we'll come to you. We'll play for 15 minutes, and we'll get our name out there. Well, sure enough, I booked 14 of them that day. So from about 8 in the morning until about midnight, we drove all over the city and played, anywhere and everywhere, people's backyards, all that kind of stuff, and did these quick little 15-minute brassagrams, outside, socially distanced and whatnot, and under the directions of the rules and whatnot. But it was a lot of work, a lot of work for little pay, because when you're an 8-person brass band, running, 14 gigs for $100. But after that, things started to roll, and it went really good for us. It just kind of got our name out there, let people know we're here, what we do, as being, Canada's northernmost, heavily populated city. Not a lot of people knew about, brass bands like you guys know in the States. So it was something new for a lot of people that hadn't seen before. And then, being able to do it without power and whatnot. And that kind of led into a popular venue in Edmonton called the Starlight Room. We played on the rooftop of the Starlight Room. We weren't allowed to play inside the venue. So, hey, let's play on the rooftop. Let's play outside the venue, and just had an awesome time. So in one way, I'm super proud of everything we did, but it's also a little bit hard because there was a lot of bands that didn't make it through. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about how refreshing this album is and what you're hoping the listener gets from it.
It's been a long time coming. I mean, we play live, we play outside, we play, like I say, I'm like, we're playing bus stops, parking lots, rooftops, sidewalks, and playing live, and getting a chance to get in the studio and record everything that we'd been putting together for forever was a good feeling. A new experience for all of us as a band and a group, and putting it together. We had all the music ready to go. We had, played it for tons of people already, and been able to gauge, who liked what, and the reactions on what songs and whatnot. So we're like, here's, we still have a lot of music in our back pocket too. So it's like, here's the first, set of tunes that we hope that people will enjoy and get this out. But we still have a lot more, and it's ready to go back in the studio and do that. But this album, Tribute to the Groove, is kind of what we wanted to put out first, and just kind of make a little staple in the scene as to who we are. It's not really fitting into any kind of box or genre or anything that we felt. It had a little mixture of everything, right? So you're not just getting the same tune throughout the album. There's a little bit of everything. There's some punk vibes, there's some rock vibes, there's some jazzy, there's some we've got a couple covers that we had a little bit of fun with. So yeah, and then being able to get it out, it took a little while to get out. And but the team that we worked with here in Edmonton, there's a great recording studio called Department 9, and Stu Kirkwood is one of the guys there that helped us get it out. And yeah, we're super proud and super happy to have it out, and hopefully everybody listens to it and loves it. So,
So
because there's a lot more coming.
yeah, I have no doubt. So you guys kind of remind me of a band. There's a band here in town called the Back Alley Brass Band, and they're really kind of vaulting up. They're kind of a New Orleans flavored brass band, and they're really taking over. They just headlined a festival recently where my show comes out of, in a suburb called Lee Summit, and they're just really doing good. So I think people love that collective, especially with all the brass. So I'm curious, in your journey as a musician, how did the sousaphone become your instrument? And how did you ultimately get into this world of jazz?
Yeah. So my personal pathway through this, I started out in the drum corps scene back in the day. We had a drum corps up in Edmonton, northernmost drum corps. We toured the states. I've been down, and I've played at DCI, and we got to see a lot of those guys back in the day when I was younger. I ended up marching with the Madison Scouts drum corps, which is a pretty popular drum corps down in the States. I tried out. I flew down. It was expensive, and it was grueling, and it was amazing. It was probably the best time of my life. And from that, I came back and helped grow the drum corps in Edmonton, on the board, president and whatnot. And it wasn't we didn't have sousaphones, but I knew one day that I wanted to put a brass band together. I did buy a sousaphone because I always wanted to play one, and I mean I was playing tuba in bands, and doing a lot of almost you know Christmas bands, orchestral music, and whatnot. But I've always wanted to put a brass band together. I've been down to New Orleans several times. I've seen them there, and just thought, you know what, we could do that up here. I can totally do this. This would be something that would really go well and hit well. And and finally we had the chance to put a band together, and that was the catalyst was a local sports team, the Edmonton Oilers. They approached me, and they were looking for a marching band, actually, and to do it with 8 players is not a marching band kind of thing. And I kind of took a New Orleans uh, lead on that, and was able to do it with less players. And so you know being able to get 41 paid gigs right off the bat, it helps. It definitely
Yeah.
helps for sure. Yeah, so
So Edmonton went to Game 7 this year, didn't they?
we did. Yeah, yeah.
I was actually down in Florida when that happened that night of the game, and they weren't letting flights go up because everybody wanted to watch it. But I'm blown away being from Kansas City. How can we not have a hockey team in the Midwest when we get cold all the time? And how can a place like Florida that has no ice? I don't understand. It's money.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want to be a hockey player playing in, like, living in Florida, and winning the Stanley Cup in Florida? I mean, every hockey team in the league plays indoors. We all
Yeah.
play indoors. You know what I mean? And if it's 30. Sorry, uh, well, I'm talking Celsius right now, but let's talk Fahrenheit. It's over 100. It's going to be over 100 today, here in Edmonton. And end of June hockey, playoff status. I mean, they've got extra coolers in the arena up here just to make that ice really good. But yeah, Hockey in Florida, who would have thought?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. So, so what was the first live show that you ever saw that blew you away that made you think this is what I want to do with my life?
uh, you know what? I've always been a fan of Rebirth Brass Band. They were the originals. They were the OGs to do it. And I got a chance to see them down in New Orleans, and that was it. That was it. That's all it took. It was that, and after that, I was hooked. Excuse me. But also the online presence of some bands, like, it was right around the time that Too Many Zoos was kind of taking the New York subway, that kind of guerrilla vibe where taking the subway by storm, and just setting up anywhere, and being able to amass a crowd, and where there wasn't one already, and bring a crowd together, and get the people going. So it was a mixture of seeing Rebirth Brass Band live, seeing Too Many Zoos. Lucky Chops is such a wicked awesome band. So these guys are doing it, and that's kind of where we were sitting back going, like, this is something that we can put through together too, and give a Canadian spin. There's a lot of great Canadian brass bands as well that I took some leads from, and they've come through the jazz uh you know circuit up here in Canada, like Heavyweights Brass Band. um and there's also those other bands that are brass focused, but they also have some guitars in them, and we take a little bit of lead from them. There's a band called My Son the Hurricane in Canada here that's absolutely phenomenal. I'm good friends with them, and they're just such an awesome band. So it's just influences from everywhere, and getting that together, and then saying, you know what, like, let's do this, right?
So what's the greatest thing about being a part of this collective? Obviously, having this many people, there's got to be a level of chemistry. What is it that you all look forward to the most, or what makes this work?
Well, we jive. Like, we are good friends. So, like the old adage, three things. You can have three things. You can have good pay, you can have good musicians, and you can have good, hangs is kind of the best. But you only get two. I'm lucky enough to say we actually have three of the three. It all works together, and we work as a collective in this band. We all have a say in everything, and make decisions. And we've got multiple writers. Not everyone contributes to the tunes. And we're just like, we're really good friends. We hang out even when we're not playing, believe it or not. And we play a lot. We have a lot of gigs, and so sometimes that adds to, like, okay, I already saw you enough, I've already hung out with you enough. But no, I mean, the guys are just, they're all awesome. And I think what the thing is that we all have a different walk of life. Like, we're all we've got younger guys. I'm not even the oldest guy. There's some older guys, and so we all have different walks of life. We all at different stages in our life too, but we come together and we hang out, and we're all you know good buddies. And I think it's cool that there's just a difference in us. We're not all the same. We're all, like I said, we're all on different walks of our life, and but we get together, and we can definitely enjoy each other's company, and make awesome music, and make crowds get on their feet and dance. So that's awesome. We have one vision, and a different multitude of personalities and flavors. So it's really cool.
So has there been a stage that you played on or a place you played at that you dreamed of playing that you were like, wow, we've made it, we're on this stage? Or is there a stage that you guys are really aiming to play on someday?
I think there's multiple levels of that. I think when you're at the beginning, you're like, if I can just get here, and I'd love to be here. And then you get there, and you're like, okay, well, you're already, this is it. We did it. No, you're already on to the next stuff, and you're already looking at a new stage. I mean, when we first started, the Starlight Room is a familiar home to us now. It's almost like the Cheers, like the owners are good friends, and so, but at the beginning, it was like, it would be awesome to be able to play a show at the Starlight. And then, coming out with our new album in Edmonton here. The Jubilee Auditorium is a very um big venue, and we've had the luck of being able to hold our CD release party at the Jubilee. They reached out to us, and so hitting those milestones in Edmonton, uh, has been amazing. So the next steps are taking this thing further and outwards. And obviously, I've got some venues that I'd love to hit. I'm a huge fan of Red Rocks Amphitheater down in Denver. I've seen a lot of great shows down there, and it's such a beautiful outdoor amphitheater. That would be amazing to play something like there, or at the Gorge in Washington. So there's some bigger stuff. I mean, we've got a lot of traveling to do and work our way outside, and we're hoping that this album is sort of a catalyst to get us out there, because you see us live, and it's awesome. We love it. Fans love it. We're trying to package that together and put it in an album, and get that exposure to the rest of, let's just say it, to the rest of the world. We'll start on a North American standard first, though.
Absolutely. So, A Tribute to the Groove, that's the new album. If anyone wants to catch you live, pick this up in the proper format to support you guys, the good business about the band, where do they go?
You can head to our website, thebrasstactics.com. We've got links to find us there. We're on all the streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple, and whatnot. I know that ideally, that does a little bit, but buying our album and straight from us is always the best. Album and merch, that helps us, and that helps us get on the road and get out there, because the album's great and it sounds amazing, but you really have to see us live, because it's a whole different ball game, and we've got choreography and great banter, and we love what we do, and so yeah, anyone that can get some albums in their hand and support the band, that'll really help us get out there, and hopefully get out to some festivals in your neck of the woods.
Absolutely. Matt, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for the story about your life and music, the band. I really appreciate it. Best of luck with this release.
Hey man, I appreciate it too. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Hope to see you down in Kansas there. So
Yeah.
real soon.
We'd love
Yeah.
to see you down here.